I prepare the leg supports by measuring the floor to ceiling height and take into account the roller connector height. Using my square, I mark the vertical support rail to the height I want to set it to. Using an angle grinder, I carefully cut along the line. I should really have had a guard on the angle grinder here, but I was using safety glasses and gloves as a safety precaution. The grinder is an oldie special. It's a low-cost tool but did the job, and many other jobs already, including cutting up the old aluminium garage doors with ease. So don't judge a man by his tool, so to speak. I carefully remove all the sharp burrs off the end. I then add the header plate that the roller connects to onto the vertical support and offer it up against the wall for sizing. It's a real challenge working with a roller here, as the width of the garage is pretty much the same as the roller, so I'm having to work at an angle. And it's a good job I paid attention in geometry class. It's all about the angle going in. I kind of struggled how to connect the roller into the header. It is a gearing on the side. So a quick check of the manual. I now connect the motor side of the roller to the left header plate. Default motor is on the right and up and down connections. So check it carefully. So when the motor is on the left, up is now down and down is not up. You'll see later my rookie mistake here. So now move on to the side that made me look at the map and realize it's a free rotating bearing and the shaft can only go in one way. Now I connect the vertical support and guide rail. So now the roller and the vertical support are connected. I need to get it up against the wall. This is where another pair of hands would have come in handy. But here I'm trying to do it on my own. Stupid, cheap, I'll let you decide. Comment below what you would have done. I used tie-down straps to hoist the roller door and to support it while I attached the vertical support rails to the wall. In hindsight, I should have used the ratchet. The bigger ones, the ones where you can crank them. But when you only have small ones, you have to make it work. You may have noticed an irritating cough here, and apologies for that. I failed to wear a mask and perhaps too much dust has been inhaled. Fortunately, it did go away. Hopefully not as quick as my subscribers, which brings me on to the you know what to do buttons. The straps are around the truss, which I'll use to hoist up the roller. These tie-down straps were fiddly. It was at a point where I should have spent more of my pocket money on proper straps. Or even better, keep the beam lifter for a few more days. Trying to figure out which way it goes through the ratchet was starting to make me a little frustrated. But we are where we are, and swearing like a troop, I wasn't going to get it into the hole. Perseverance made its way here. And to my neighbours' relief, they didn't have to hear my frustrations. Anyway, here we go. Hoisting the mainsail and the roller is now up. I can attach the vertical rails which I removed. Just because they slot in, I didn't want them falling out during, as you can see, painstakingly frustration of getting it up. Once the legs are on, it's pretty much now supporting itself, and here I can do some center alignment for both the left and right. Fortunately, the top has some tolerance on the height adjustment. It is what it is, and actually it turned out to be perfect, both in height and vertical center adjustment. You know what I mean. The header plate has two screw holes. One hole lined up perfectly on the truss connector plate, so I only attach the header plate here, relying on the vertical runner rails, which are firmly connected to the brickwork to prevent the roller door from falling inwards. I'm using another oldie impact driver tool here. Again, it's not a pro tool, but it did the job. It's surprisingly good as an all-round tool, and it's done hundreds of hours. Maybe I just got lucky, or in fact LDB done pretty good stuff. Not one I wouldn't take to a job site, because that's like turning up to a supercar meetup in a Skoda. And I'm sorry if you're a Skoda fan. So now for the name brand tool, the Makita. I've had it for years, and maybe one day I'll migrate to Milwaukee if I get enough subscribers. I may well have more different types of batteries and tools. Anyway, the Makita makes light work of the drilling into the grease block. One hole made and now to line up with the template. I'm eyeballing it here, and I have a good friend, Mike Wenham, and he would have brought his spirit level out. No gloves worn here, but nothing quite like feeling the tool in your hand without a glove on. Holes made, wall plugs in, and roller door control onto the wall. My eyeballing was spot on. Off camera I used the spirit level just to make sure. So maybe I did do a Mike Wenham. Has to be perfect alignment check. By the way, Mike is a good friend of mine who is anally retentive when it comes to perfection. Out with the Makita and a metal drill bit, and a pilot hold into the header plate for the motor cable to be pulled through. You have to be careful here not to damage the outer sheath of the cable, so I made a bigger hole so the cable goes through easily. Fast forward and it's in and ready to connect. I made a mistake in the connection, and before powering on I consulted the manual again. Lesson here for anyone wanting to do this on the road. Read the bloody map, the manual, and look at the color coding on the controller. Black is not common here, it is blue. Take note, when the motor is on the left, its controls are opposite. So you want to change the two wires and not follow the manual exactly.
Well, that was lucky. Because on this, blue is common. And the secret is follow the color. Black, blue, and brown. Well, I've always known black to be common. Right. The up and down should now work properly. Okay. Lucky, no damage, we hope. curtain all the way down, roll all the way down, connect the curtain up. Curtain all the way down. Okay, now we clean up, give ourselves some space.
I angled the door onto the table. I got lucky here because it was still in the bubble wrap, but I could have damaged the door by putting all the weight onto the corner edge of the table. Do not do this. The roller door is not that heavy, and again this is where another pair of hands would have come in handy. Fortunately, this is the top and wouldn't never have been seen, but still, I wouldn't recommend this. I move the roller door into position and unwrap a generous amount of bubble wrap off the door.
A few moments later.
And then proceed to undo the hooks that attach onto the roller pipe. It felt like Christmas unwrapping these. So much bubble wrap. Back to my ridiculous straps. I was about to head off to get the real McCoy, but figured by the time I got back I would have been finished. So enter amateur hour and I persisted. I cut out about 20 minutes of messing about, but I managed to get it to work. Wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Remember, I'm a roller door virgin here and would have done it differently next time, and you learn as you go. After securing the roller door, I unwrap some of the door as it's easier to lift unwrapped, with the table taking a surface. Needs must, and I step onto the table. Normally this only happens after a few drinks and when the music is playing. but I'm focused here on getting it done. You can see how this becomes a slippery slope. As 1, I stood on the table like a platform. 2, I then used a stepladder to reach across. This could have been bad, and I didn't practice what I preached, so sorry everyone. I hook on the roller door to the roller shaft and manually wind it up so I get it into the guide rails. The battery went flat here, but it was surprisingly easy. Wind it all the way up, line up the bottom slat into the side rails, and manually roll it down. Why? Well, the motor I had set all the way to the bottom, so I've manually rolled it down to the bottom. I can then use the motor to drive it up, using the stop button before it overrolls. This is where you adjust the set points for stopping 2 slats before the end of the guardrail is reached. I went 1 slat because the Range Rover needs to go in and I need the headroom.
Good job.